morning, Jesse.
Hey, what's up?
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Sorry, I'm a little behind. I got these guys causing mayhem at the gym here doing the roof, and I got virtual running, so it's killing me right now. But
Oh,
how
uh,
are you? Life is good?
life is good. Life is beautiful. Let me
Good.
introduce you to Jamie. Jamie, this Jesse Bruce. Jamie is my cohort, my partner in this program.
Oh, cool.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Hey, how
Got
are
turn
you?
back on for a sec. Not too bad.
Oh, hey, how are you? Here we go. Cool. Does this thing have a gallery view so I can see everybody?
So we do not require them, our participants, to come on camera if they don't feel
Oh,
comfortable.
okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, so today we have Miles and Nathan in class with us. We are missing two. They are having technical issues, but we are recording the whole process so that we
Okay,
can
cool.
say it back to them. So we'll let you take the floor and you can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Oh, okay. All right. And sorry, what was the name? Miles and who? What was the other one? Nathan? Miles, Nathan, what's up, guys? How's it going? So all right, let's go. So, I guess I'll even just start with how I know Carrie. I worked at when I was a teenager. I worked at a restaurant. And actually I loved it. It was actually one of the first things I was actually good at.
Jesse, can I stop you for 1 second? We lost your face.
Oh, did you lose my face?
You lost your face. My screen. Oh, there you go. Better.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Cool. All right. So yeah, I worked at a kitchen in a kitchen. I loved it there. It was one of the first things I was really decent at, aside from all the trouble I may have caused there. And, so Carrie was my boss there, the general manager. And I was, I was going through a pretty, I was there for years on and off. They would always hire me back after every time I got arrested and went to jail. Carrie always gave me a second, third, fourth, fifth chance. And again, it was cool because it was a place I felt included at, welcome, appreciated, and again, it was something I was good at. When I always wondered, I didn't think I was good at anything. So I always wondered, what the heck am I going to do with my life? I have no skills. I was small. I was, skinny growing up. So, it was harder for me to get, like, say, a construction job or a hard labor job because I was just a little guy, a little runt. And so I always wondered what I was going to do with my life. And I got a job at this kitchen. I did pretty good at it. I was fast. I enjoyed it. And I actually even attempted to go to chef school because I thought, I'm good at this. Maybe I can be a chef when I get older or whatever. And a whole other story how that didn't work. But I guess I'll start with just from the beginning, and feel free to stop me or rush me or any questions at any point. Can I hear Miles and Nathan if they have a question? Okay.
Yep.
Should be able to.
Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, at any point, if you ever
Sorry, Jesse, we just have our mics muted so that you're not being disrupted by background noise. That's
okay. Okay, cool. If anyone wants to chime in at any time and turn your mic off and ask me a question, by all means, give her. So, to make a long story short that I've told 1,000 times, I'm your typical skinny, small kid, grew up, low self-esteem, no confidence. I loved playing sports. I had a few friends that's all we did was just play sports. But I was still, like everybody else, grew. I stayed small. I stayed skinny. I was weaker. I had this feeling of inferiority. Like I wasn't good enough, strong enough, big enough. I struggled in school. I had some difficulty at home, as much as I have two brothers who are pretty solid. And I'm fortunate to have both parents. There was some problems at home there. I come from an alcoholic family, but again, I'm blessed and grateful that despite the struggles at my home, I knew I had two parents who cared about me despite of the things that I saw and struggled with growing up. But I did grow up with very low self-confidence. I always seemed to be getting in fights with the neighborhood kids. I always, for some reason, wasn't liked or was picked on or was left out or didn't quite fit in, and had to just live with this loneliness. I hated going to school. I would always fake sick and just did whatever I could to not go to school. I started struggling in school. I started getting in trouble. Then when high school hit, I had already been smoking cigarettes and drinking and smoking weed and stuff. And actually, in high school, I made a lot of friends through, this, and started living the party lifestyle, and actually, gained some popularity and a nice crew of friends, and, got in the party scene, and, my popularity seemed to grow, even though I still struggled. I still had low self-esteem. Um, I discovered that drinking made me a different person. Drinking made me feel better. Drinking made me, more outgoing. It made me forget about the person I was. It made me, relax. I wasn't scared. I wasn't nervous anymore. Didn't feel lonely anymore. I felt like I fit in. And I gained some friends with this. And at the same time, I also discovered that, no matter what I was going through, no matter what sadness I felt, what pain I was going through, I could drink and it would go away. So, I learned that at a pretty young age, 10, 11, 12 years old, that no matter what I was going through at home, no matter how much trouble I was in, I could drink 6 beers at that time a lot, and it would go away or whatever. And then, as I grew up and went through high school, partying became part of my life. I lived for the weekend. Even at school during the week was all about smoking weed or whatever, smoking cigarettes, hanging out at the smoke pit, having fun. And I was struggling in school, and I was in trouble at home. And also, it was quickly became apparent that I couldn't drink like everybody else, that I wasn't drinking like a normal person. I was already, it would change me. I would get in fights. It would make me a different person. I was the one that was blacking out. I was the one that was acting like an idiot and embarrassing myself. And I started to lose all those friends I gained. They didn't want to hang out with me anymore. I was fighting. I was getting in trouble. I was getting in trouble with the law. And as much as I gained them through the party scene, they were still pretty solid people. And it started going downhill. And for me, for having friends was very important to me, because I lived the first majority of my life without them. Right, I was always the guy that wasn't liked, left out, picked on, whatever. So, this as much as it was my own fault, and I take full accountability and responsibility, it still hurts. It still sucks, right? At this time also, I don't want to get into specific to what kind of drugs, but I was getting into some pretty, hardcore drugs. Again, it starts with smoking weed. You get into some things like mushrooms and acid, and stuff gets boring, and you try, you get into some more serious drugs. And I became addicted to my first one. It was a different addiction, because my happiness kind of depended on it. This drug I would do, and I'd feel like $1,000,000 for 7-8 hours, but then the reverse happens when it's over and you're back in hell. And I became dependent on that drug, because that was the only thing that, made me not want to die. And then drinking also, I remember that drinking, I learned that would make whatever pain I was going through go away. So I'm in this vicious cycle of being clinically depressed, like just feeling so in such a pit of darkness and hopelessness, that the only thing that would make it go away was my drug or drinking. And then it just spirals more and more out of control. I was losing it. I was in trouble. I was always getting kicked out of my house, always, couldn't hold a job, in and out of jail. I was already in group homes when I was a teenager. I was quickly in the adult system, as soon as I turned 18. And, as much as, like, on paper, I would have looked like a bad person. I had assaults on there. I was stealing to feed my addiction. But, I was broken. I was so depressed. Like it was so bad. Like I was going days without sleeping, entire nights over and over again. The only way I could actually sleep was if I would pass out from drinking too much. And I lived as a ghost. Like I was in such a dark place. I remember me and my mom were best friends, and I could talk to her about anything. And I remember not even being able to talk to her, like sitting in the driver's seat of the car, driving around, just wanting to die and not being able to talk to her, and feeling just out of place and so insecure. And I thought I had done so much damage to my body that I would never ever get out of it. I thought I was permanently like that. I didn't think I would ever experience happiness. I didn't think I would ever be able to hold a job, do anything good, be successful, and even just that, I just wanted to be happy. And I thought I was permanently stuck that way. So I'm not going to get into further details, but there was, many nights where I'm going to be like this forever. So what's the point in even being here? And I tried to take matters in my own hands multiple times, thinking that I was a burden to everybody around me, thinking I was a waste of life, thinking I was pathetic, thinking I was, the biggest loser on the face of the earth. And one thing that I was, that you can look at a crappy time I went through and what some good came out of it was I got locked up for 7 or 8 months when I was 18, 19 years old, and they had a gym there. Or so in jail, they had weights. And me, skinny before I even got into dope, you could see every single bone in my body, ribs. I wasn't eating. I remember, I'd eat a couple bites out of an Egg McMuffin, and it would make me sick. And I was going days without eating food. And then this particular bit I went in 7, 8 months, regular eating, weights. I started lifting weights. I remember at the start I could barely even bench press the bar, but I kept at it. Obviously nothing much else to do, but just eating, and I started to feel better about myself, and I started putting more weights on those bars, and I started getting stronger, and my body started to change. And for the first time in a long time, I finally had something to feel good about. I had nothing going for me before. I wasn't good in school. I stopped playing all sports. I was skinny. I was hooked on dope, booze, and I was a mess. But finally, now I'm like, okay, I have some muscle. I can go with this, and it gave me a new kind of confidence, something to feel good about. I could walk a little taller. I had something to kind of look forward to, my next workout, something to study, to research. I'm like, okay, what's the best way to train, to get stronger, to get bigger? At first my training was about aesthetics. I wanted to, I'd spend my whole life feeling like I was ugly and skinny. That's what it was about. Eventually down the road, it would become more a performance. But what came out of this was a passion. I had nothing that I was passionate about before. You know what I mean? Like cooking was something I was good at. I could do, I could hold on to it, but fitness and training was something I was good at. And I also, as much as I struggled, like I still had a heart. You know what I mean? I still cared about other people, and I wanted to give people what I had experienced. I wanted to help people that were struggling like me, that wanted to die. I wanted to train them and show them that this can make you feel good, that this can make you feel better, that they can even help curb your addiction. Believe me, I would still struggle for a lot of years after that, but I always had that one thing, and I always had that hope that I would go to school. I wanted to be a personal trainer. Right. I wanted to give people what I had been through. I had joined gyms and been a part of something. Right. And I finally, another good thing about jail, I was able to get my high school. I had been trying to get into some of the fitness and health promotion programs at the colleges, but my marks weren't quite good enough, and I needed the certain credentials or whatever. So, you know, at 26, 27 years old, I went back to night school to get my biology and whatever else I needed. And I went to Niagara College for fitness and health promotion at 27 years old. By all means, still struggling, scraping by through life, working factory jobs, roofing, doing whatever, getting fired, getting hired. Just that was my life. Like, you know, going through brief stints of sobriety before screwing up. And like for me, when I start drinking and getting into dope, it's like I can't stop until, you know, I'm either broke, shaking on the floor, or in jail or whatever, right? So, but here I am. I'm 27 years old, going to college. I remember my dad had given me a ride, and he was so fed up with all my antics and whatever, and probably didn't have a whole lot of hope for me there, even though I had worked myself to get to there. I was pretty messy going in. Went there, not even a whole lot of clothes, no haircut, just a mess. I remember I went on a binge like literally right before I had gone to college. I went to Niagara College, starting this thing, just a mess. There's like 90 kids in my class. I'm the oldest one. Everyone else is 17, 18, 19. You know, everyone else seems pretty excited. They already have their crews of friendships. And I'm sitting there, probably the only one, or at least one of few people in the class, just trembling, right? Like just so full of anxiety. The teacher comes in the class. You know, I don't even have a whole lot of books or papers or anything. And the teacher starts yipping or whatever and starts firing stuff on the board. And I'm like, oh, frig, I better start writing this stuff down too. And I think my addictive personality, but also like me, this is a life and death situation, right? I'm like, if you fail this, you might as well give up. You know, there's nothing you can do. So for me, I have to pass. Life or death situation. I'm writing down every single thing that teacher writes on the board, every single thing. The first test comes up in about 3 weeks. I spend 2 days studying every single thing that teacher went through, memorizing everything. I stayed up the entire night, the night before this test, just like, you know, in my mind, it's not even about doing good. It's about not failing, right? And I remember at school, I'm the one in the front and center. You know, I don't care about anybody because this is life and death. And I wrote that first test thinking, Pat, you got to pass this test. And I ended up with like the highest mark in the class. I got like 2 questions wrong. And it was so funny because other kids found out, and all of a sudden I'm the smart guy in the class, right? I've never been the smart guy. So it was funny. I think I got, you know, my addictive personality got hooked on that, on getting a good mark. So I worked hard. I was still struggling with my addiction. I managed to get myself arrested a couple times up there. I spent my entire 3rd semester serving weekends. So, you know, I'd go to school Monday to Friday. I'd turn myself into the county jail down there, whatever, Friday night, come out Monday morning back to school. So it was crazy, but I had a shot. I wanted to do this. I actually ended up with one of the best marks in the class and like got honors and was able to bridge into university. So that's how I ended up in Toronto, Northwest Toronto, going to University of Guelph Humber for kinesiology. And here I am, you know, no one would have ever bet a dime on me being able to get to university. And here we go. I'm stressing out all over again. And this was the first time, like I had made some friends in college. And again, my drinking had damaged those relationships. Like I was fortunate that people during class, they got to see the real Jesse and that I'm not just a drunk, but they still got some of drunk Jesse. And again, once I started, I couldn't stop, and I started ruining some friendships. And even though my school had been going well, I had, you know, I was still disappointing my father. I was, you know, our relationship hadn't been a good one my whole life, and I was trying to fix it and mend it. And, you know, he was, you know, kind of obviously still kind of getting fed up with me. And, you know, I was just so tired and sick of living life this way and feeling, you know, shaking and feeling insecure and losing friendships. I'm like, okay, I have to make a change. I have to stop drinking. And for the first time, I went and I had been going to AA meetings, since I was 16 years old. My mom used to always make me go, and finally, but this time I was serious. I wanted to stop drinking. I got to university, going to meetings every single day, biking across the city, doing whatever I had to do, desperate. And but it was hard, man. You think when you first stop drinking and doing dope, you think everything's gonna be freaking roses and rainbows. It was man, it was hard because for 15, 20 years I had been coping by drinking and using dope. Every time I felt like crap, depressed, lonely, sad, even happy, was I'd go drink. So now I'm dealing with all these emotions. I've never dealt with stuff. I had gone through a lot of hell, losing friendships, losing my mom when I was at the worst of my addiction. And honestly, I think you just get hit hard with all these emotions. And for me, it was tough. I would end up relapsing after about 7-8 months sober. But another good thing that came from that period of sobriety was in university, I joined a cross country team at the school. It was funny because I'm 29, 30 years old at this time, going to the university there, and it was bridged with Humber. So they had a varsity cross country team amongst all the other sports. And I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. I'll try out for that. I've never been a part of a team before. So it was funny. Went in older, all these other kids are trying out. They're 17, 18, 19 years old. A couple of them thought I was the coach. They came up and shook my hand. I'm like, no, man, I'm trying out. And, at this point too, I was big. I lifting weights was my thing. I was a lot bigger and more muscular, and all these kids are legs and lungs, right? So I was, old guy, pure muscle, stuck out. It was pretty funny, but I made that team barely. I was one of the last picks because, running 8 kilometers to me at that time was a long freaking time, right? I was smoked. I remember after all these practices, I could barely even walk. My body was just so brittle, right? But it was awesome being a part of this team. There was about 20 of us, men and women, and we're going through these hard training practices together and doing these hard races together. And for me, it's been a while since I've been part of a positive team like that, supportive team like that, and then training for these finish lines that were, at the time really freaking hard, like running 8 kilometers as fast as you can. Oh my God, I was smoked. And then, but it was still so cool, that feeling of accomplishment and then getting better. It was funny because I won. I eventually became one of the faster runners on the team and got rookie of the year that year. So it was cool. They had a big ceremony, and I go up, 30 years old to get my little trophy. And it was fun. It felt good, right? Like I've never been good at nothing in a while. So anyway, finish university again. After I relapsed, I was binging again, but again, it became the point where, I went to Wake Stock in Collingwood with Sega and embarrassed myself and humiliated myself in front of everybody. I didn't stop drinking for about a week. Came out of that and was just so fed up again, but this time was different. I was going to do everything that I could to stay sober. I had to stop talking to some certain friends from KW. I had to do everything. I had to go to AA meetings every day. I was going to church. I was just finding any kind of support, any kind of extra whatever, because I was so just done, so tired of feeling like crap, so tired of not being able to sleep, so tired of feeling like a loser, so tired of ruining relationships and embarrassing myself. And it takes a toll on you. Like there's got to be a time where enough is enough, right? And so that was the last time I drank, that Wake Stock, and that was this August 8th. This year will be 10 years clean and sober without any kind of anything.
I just want to stop you right there and say congratulations.
Thank you so much. It means a lot. And I'll always remember how you helped me actually a lot through that. So, as much as I felt, like a piece of crap my whole life, there's people that do stick out. And And that's why I remember that. And no matter what I do now in these days, I have to give back the same way there was a few people out there that saw something good in me when I could never see something good in myself. So thank you, Carrie. Thank you. So yeah, 10 years, August. After university, it was time to go. I was like, I graduated kinesiology. I'm like, shoot, I want to start my own business. I want to do things my way. My way is the best way. Where do I even start? I had no idea. So I stayed at Humber. I would run, I would take a business diploma. I would run a couple more years. I actually became captain of that team, which was funny because I'm 31 years old. I only did it for 1 year. I thought I gave it over and let the young guys do it, but still a pretty cool experience. And this is about the same time obstacle course racing came out. So for me, and when I look at business, and one of the things I started learning is, what's going to make me different? I'm in class with 70 people graduating in the fitness industry alone, and that's only one school, 1 year. And I'm thinking there's people all over, and I'm like, frig, how am I gonna, what's gonna make somebody come and take my classes or come to my fitness thing, and as opposed to someone else's? So I went to work. I worked hard, and my mindset was I need to make myself stick out or as different or better than everybody else out there, so that people come and give me their money, right, and not the next guy. So I lucked out. This was about the same time obstacle course racing became a big part of the scene. So I don't know if you guys have heard of races like Spartan Race or Tough Mudder or Warrior Dash. Warrior Dash was one of the first ones. This was about 10 years ago, actually, I did this. So I was just kind of 9-10 years ago, just getting sober. Went and did this race. I'd been running cross country for a couple of years. I was really fit. I had the strength background. And I went and I did this race, and 15,000 people did this race over the weekend. And I won it. I came in first place. And so I was like, frig, that's one more way to make me stick out. But the thing that's even way bigger than that was going to this race and seeing men, women, young, old, athletes, beginners, just all kinds of people just starting this race and coming together like groups of friends that were training together, and they were so happy when they crossed that finish line or got the top of that mountain, just the same way I was when I started doing those cross country races. And I was like, for me, the question always was, okay, how can I know that coming to the gym and training is going to make someone feel good. How do I keep them there? But bigger than that, how do I give people what I was given with that cross country team, or even my friends from college who gave me that community and that support system, and I wanted to give that to other people. And I went and I did that race, and I saw that, and I was like, oh shit, I'm like, this is awesome. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a kind of a boot camp, and I'm going to train people for these races, and we're going to go do it together. So I entered some competitions. I won a bunch of money in a pitch competition. I got an investor who believed in me and my vision and my passion. And I bought a van, and I filled it up with equipment. And again, with that mindset, okay, how can I make myself bigger, better than everybody else? Because I'm going to Centennial Park in Northwest Toronto, and there's already 10 boot camps there. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm competing with all these guys. So I filled up my van with any single heavy thing you can think of: tires, sledgehammers, ropes. I got sleds, kettlebells, dumbbells, everything. I filled buckets up with sand. I filled bags up with sand, and I went to my part of the park, and I would spend an hour just laying out this perfect boot camp that people would come and do. And then I would set up a 1, 2, and 3 kilometer option for the end of the class for people to do. Every month I would have what I called the Ultimate Warrior, which was a 5K race that I would get people to do. And people loved it. And soon, before you know it, I had 30, 40 people at each one. I was adding time slots, and people were going bananas, and we were going to the race, and I was freaking doing it. So it was so cool. But I wanted a facility. That was the ultimate dream, to have my own gym. A guy saw what I was doing that had races at his property that I used to go down, and I would go down, and I won all of them. So that another thing made me stick out. When he saw what I was doing, and he approached me, and he said, yo, let's open a facility. And I'm like, freaking hey, let's do it. So I gave up that company, which was called Time for War Fitness, my first company, because Time for War was my slogan when I was just so fed up with ruining my life. And I have a tattoo down my stomach. And but then I left that, and together we opened a gym called Alpha Obstacle Training, which was training people specifically for obstacle course racing. The business didn't quite work out. It was kind of a shady partnership, and it would fail business-wise, but it didn't fail because I had started something, a community. I had 100 people over that, and again, we were traveling all over doing obstacle course races, going to Quebec, going to World Championships, doing everything. And then it also didn't fail because 2 members of that gym saw what I had done, saw that the company wasn't doing well, and I had to actually sell it and give it up. And they set me down and they said, Jesse, we believe in what you're doing. We love this gym. It's changed our lives. We want to open something new with you, bigger, better, before. We want to assist you financially. We want to assist you with marketing. They own an advertising agency. And from there, together, we sat down in that office and we created One Academy. So that's the gym I'm at now. And this was 4 years ago. We're just about out of July. Will be 4-year anniversary. We're rated one of Toronto's top gyms. I had over 500 regular members at this thing before we closed. Over 1,000 people coming regularly. People from all over Canada. People come here when they come from overseas, when they from out like internationally, because they've heard of our gym through obstacle course racing. Athletically, I became one of Canada's top obstacle course racers. I'm on the Spartan Race Pro team. I've competed all over the world internationally in events. I came in 3rd place at the world's toughest mudder. So I don't know if you've heard of Tough Mudder. It's an 8-kilometer challenge. This is a 24-hour challenge that was in Atlanta, and it was nuts. It was, you go to this thing and you have to run as many 5 or 8-kilometer laps as you can in 24 hours. And you're competing against some of the top endurance athletes from all over the planet. And it's freaking intense. And then it just happened to be the coldest night in history in Atlanta in November. So you're going and I'm going there and I'm thinking it's Atlanta, right? I'm like, nice, it's going to be kind of hot. But no, it was freaking cold as hell. You're in and out of freezing cold water. I can show you pictures. My hands were swelled up about 3 times the size. My lips, I could barely even talk, but I said, you keep going. You're not stopping. You've already been through hell. There's nothing in this race that's going to stop you. I kept going, putting one foot in front of the other. I was smoked, but I didn't stop moving for 24 hours, and I completed 90 miles. It ended up being like 150 kilometers, 400 something obstacles, in and out of the water 200-300 times. It was nuts, and I got 3rd place. And again, it was the 3rd time that year I was able to stand on a podium when holding my country's flag. And again, it's so, for me, it's cool, but bigger than that, bigger than anything else, it's like what drives me is being living proof to people that are struggling out there, that the skinny kid or the kid that didn't do so well in school is being living proof that we can change it. No matter what you're going through, you can come out of it. You can get better, you can get strong, you can find that passion. So I always tell people, when people ask me, what changed or what, if you have any advice to give back, and for me, it's always find your passion, find that one thing that you love doing, find that one thing that you're good at, that you have a special way of looking at that nobody else does. Maybe it's something you've been through, maybe it's whatever, maybe you like working with people, maybe you want to help people, maybe whatever. Like, find that one thing that kind of gives you that spark that you lie in your bed thinking about. Everybody has it. I didn't know I got it. Pardon?
That maybe it's guitars. Just speaking
Yeah,
of
maybe
participants
it's
in
guitars.
particular.
Yeah, anything, guitars, music.
A person in our group, Jesse, we were just talking before you came on, has a passion for guitars and is just about to go buy a new guitar.
Yeah, that's it, man. It's music, guitars, teaching someone your passion, how to play guitar. Like, it's again like something that makes you feel good that you want to share with someone else. And then, like I got like what else is just like another thing is like no matter how bad, I don't want to sound like a cliche, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but like it's so true. Like no matter what hell you're going through, no matter what darkness it is, you can get out of it. You just got it. Like time heals all, and we have to like find the strength and the courage to take steps. Life's not gonna get better if we don't do anything, right? We have to move. We have to take action, and sometimes it's a little step. For me, when I was at the most hell and I'm in my apartment, I got no food in my fridge because I spent all my money on dope and I'm behind on rent. I remember my house was a disaster because I had just been in it on the weekend with all kinds of people in there. I remember how good it made me feel to even just clean my house, you know what I mean, and have a decent place, or to go grocery shopping and not spend money on dope, and like even just those little things, the big things. It's like we have to make. We have to take those steps because, no wonder I was so depressed when I was like, for one, I'm struggling, but why would I feel good? I didn't do anything to improve my life. I didn't do one thing to make my life better, and I did everything to make it worse. And, I did artificial things that temporarily made it feel better, but it didn't make it better, and I ended up feeling worse than I was. So it's like just finding that strength to take those little steps, you know what I mean? And get there's strength training that you get from training and putting in time and the work with dumbbells and barbells and whatever. And then there's this training your life by putting in the work and trying to get better and learn and whatever, right? So that's pretty much the gist of my story. Thank you guys for listening. And again, any questions, any whatever, anything you ever actually need, reach out to Carrie, and you can reach out to me if that's allowed. And let's frickin' do it.
Thank you so much, Jesse. I appreciate that. I am so proud of you.
Thank you. It means a lot.
Every time I talk to you, I say that, but I am so proud of you and where you've come. And it gives me such joy to see you happy, like truly. Yeah. Helping you was nothing. I don't mean it in a negative way. It was a simple thing. It was a minor thing, but I felt for you so much and what you were going through when you were young. It broke my heart, and it gives me such joy to see you doing well in your life.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a
I love
lot.
on the bottom of your email, by the way, and I did read it to them. It's a very good quote.
That's it. Yeah, I like it. Like one of my favorite new quotes that I often say is, "What if life and didn't happen to you, but it happened for you?" Right. So now I take we can't change the things that happen to us, but we can look at them as things that helped shape us for our future. And believe me, there have a lot of people gone through a lot worse than me and worse than other people and whatever. But it's like, hey man, it's like it happened. You went through it. You can complain about it, or you can use it.
I've always thought of it this way. I can boo-hoo about the bad things that happened in my life, or I can look back on them and think, I am the person I am today because of those things.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be who I am today had I not suffered and endured those things, and I like who I am today.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a hard place to get to sometimes. And I wanted to have you on for other people to see that you can do it. Absolutely, you can do it. And
yes, you can.
Out there. Anybody have any questions for Jesse before we let him go?
I do have one thing to say.
Yeah.
Your One Academy has 4.9 stars out of 5. Bravo, dude.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It
Nothing
should be
but good
5.
reviews.
It should be 5, but we have a few trolls out there. So let that be a lesson. Yeah, there's always going to be a small percentage of people that hate you.
Yeah, honestly, fuck them.
Exactly. Fuck them. That's what I say too.
It's probably another gym.
Yeah, that's it. If people aren't hating you, you're not doing good enough.
That's
Absolutely.
true.
Jamie, do you have any questions for Jesse?
No, I just want to thank you for coming and kind of reinforcing what I've been trying to talk about for the last like 4 weeks. That no matter where you are now, shoot for the big things. Like your life is not over just because you've hit a few bumps. And, like you're still young. You can start over. You can hit that forward trajectory and achieve whatever it is you want.
That's it.
Nathan, Miles, do you have any more questions?
No, I think that's all.
We're gonna let you go, Jesse. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I
Thanks.
think if anything comes up and you guys want to reach out, by all means, give her.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get you back sure next
Yeah.
go too.
Once this freaking thing is over with, come down for a workout.
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah.
I just did 25K for Steps for Kids.
Nice.
Not bad for an old lady.
That's a lot of KMs.
It was. Well, Jesse, you have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, guys. Take care, everybody. Peace, love.
Have a good one. What an impressive individual.
Yeah.